Hello, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News Show. Today, I've got one of my In the News shows, got three companies to talk about today. One of the first company I'm going to talk about is a very underappreciated junior exploration company called Athena Gold. I love to find companies before the crowd does. And especially if I can see some drill holes that get me impressed and wait for the crowd to appear. In the case of Athena Gold, they only have a $10.89 million valuation. And yet I think that they have an exceptional new discovery in the Walker Lane Trend of Nevada, which is in Western Nevada. There's a lot of excitement going on in Western Nevada these days, down by the Bullfrog mining region, about 40 or 50 miles south of where Athena Gold is. The Anglo has found over 3.4 million ounce resource that was their maiden resource, and it's an oxide system. And a lot of Nevada has been very picked over for oxide deposits. It's sort of made up the mining industry in Nevada for the past several decades. But there's not a lot of good ones out there left. And Athena looks to have one that is quite remarkable. And yet nobody has really is paying attention to it other than myself and my audience, I hope. And what they announced is that they completed their spring 2023 reverse circulation drill program. They did 9 holes. They totaled 3,740 feet or 1,140 meters at their Excelsior Spring project, which is 45 miles southwest of Goldfield in Esmeralda County, Nevada. Now, this is to follow up on their 2022 drill program. And look at the grades that they hit. And bear in mind that oxide deposits these days are being mined at well under a gram, half a gram even, and yet they make a lot of money. And here you can see in hole 23, it intercepted 33.5 meters of 5.15 grams of gold and 8.9 grams of silver, including a subinterval of 16.7 meters, which intersected 10 grams of gold and 17 grams of silver, and a 10.6 meter intercept of 15.3 grams per ton of gold and 26 grams of silver. Hole 01 intercepted 6 grams of gold and 17 grams of silver over 27 meters, starting at 39.5 meters below surface, so right at the surface. Included in that was 10 grams of silver, or 10 grams of gold and 30 grams of silver over 10 meters. A deeper zone starting at 77.7 meters intercepted 4.97 grams of gold and 14.4 grams of silver over 13.7 meters. Hole 2 intersected 4.49 grams of gold and 27 grams of silver over 15.2 meters, starting at 41.1 meters. And included was 7.29 grams of gold and 44 grams of silver over 9.1 meters. And then they had a separate deeper zone starting at 6 meters, which or 68 meters, which intersected 1.2 grams of gold and 7.7 grams of silver over 7.6 meters. There's a quote from John Power, who's the president and CEO of Athena, and he stated in a quote, "The primary objective of our spring 2023 drill program was to determine continuity of the shallow, high-grade gold mineralization encountered in 2022. With step-outs both east and west, this will further define the target zone and set the stage for additional drilling. We continue to believe Excelsior Springs is emerging as one of the best advanced exploration projects in Nevada's Walker Lane Trend." End quote. There's a picture of the drill core, And these bags down here are from the reverse circulation. So it breaks it up into little chips, and then they put it in the bag and send it off to the assay lab. Here is the contact gulch, which is part of what they're looking for. And they give you a good amount of details about the Excelsior Spring project. What stands out to me about this project is that they've got a northern fault and a southern fault, and these faults are important for the metals bearing fluids to make their way up to the surface. And then right in between for several kilometers is a big alteration zone. So when the metals bearing fluids interact with the country rock, it alters that rock, and you can see the alteration is very, very big. And if you follow that alteration quite significantly from where they're drilling on the western side of it, those faults come together and there's a big geophysical anomaly. So not only do you have the geophysical anomaly, but the alteration is leading to where they drilled. And so what that indicates to me is that they've got a big system here, and the drill holes that have been hit suggests that it's an oxide deposit with orders of magnitude higher grade than most open pit oxide deposit mines, what's being mined these days. And so it's quite an exceptional project, and really shocks me that, you know, they only have a $10.89 million valuation. But I think that this current drill program that they just wrapped up could bring a lot more attention to the company and this Excelsior Springs project, because it's looking like it's got size potential. It's oxide gold, which is very easy to get the gold out of the system. And what is also being missed on a lot of people is that there's base metals in this system too, which they're not the kind of base metal grades that get a lot of people interested, but though that has to come from deeper in the system. And so underneath this oxide deposit, there could be something quite large that also has base metals in it. And so again, I think this is an exciting project that for me, because I follow these kind of things very closely, and I've had a chance as their sponsor of my show. I had a chance to do interviews with their management, and that's another thing. They've put together an extremely talented group of people that have had huge successes in the past. These guys know what these things look like, and they know how to advance them. That's exactly what they're doing. I think the shareholders are in very good hands with the technical team and the management of the company. And I invite you to check out those interviews that I've done with the management on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or you can also find them on my Substack, which is rocksandstocks.substack.com. Do your homework on Athena. Okay, Galantas Gold. This is another sponsor of my shows. I've done several interviews with Mario Stefano that you can find on the YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or on the Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. So yesterday they announced that Galantis drills 19.8 grams per ton of gold over 1.7 meters at their Omagh project in Northern Ireland. This is an orogenic gold system, and most of their drilling to date has been within the first couple hundred meters of surface. Now, what is important about these orogenic gold systems is that they go very, very deep, several thousand meters. and they are associated with faulting by main faulting and secondary faulting. Some of the great orogenic gold systems are Red Lake Mine, for example, where they went down 1,000 meters before they started getting into the Bonanza Gold. And then they continued that for about 1,000 meters at the Fosterville Mine, which was very much a company maker for Kirkland Lake Gold when they started mining the Swan Zone at Fosterville. I think they hit that at about 800 or 900 meters. So it just goes to show you that these are very deep systems, but because they are so rich in grade and the cost of producing from them are so low, that they end up being very high margin mines. For example, at Red Lake, Gold Corp at the time of mining that Red Lake mine was one of the lowest cost producers of gold in the business, and they were one of the best performing gold stocks in the of the miners. And the same thing for Kirkland Lake Gold. They were extremely low cost, high margin, free cash flow generating machine, and it ultimately made them one of the best performing gold stocks in the mining part of it, and ultimately led them to get bought out at over $14 billion. So Galantis has been focusing most of their drilling, as I said earlier, near the surface, and mainly on the Kearney vein and the Joshua vein. They've hit a lot of high-grade gold in their drilling, just like this result here. And this is the nature of these orogenic gold zones. They tend to be 1 to 3 or 4 meters. So it's right in the ballpark of what you want to be seeing. And they also noted that they were drilling from an underground platform within the second level of the Kearney vein. So they're able to use the underground workings to then poke holes, which is a good way to attack this. And they also noted that this is the most northerly intersection in the latest underground drill program, and provides important information on the course and continuity of mineralization outside the main Kearney vein. They also announced that a new surface drilling program is underway at Ama to test the predicted dilation zone at the Joshua vein, which has the potential to host higher widths of mineralization. So what happens is a dilation zone is where the rocks open up somewhat, and this allows the fluids that carry the gold to pool up in those dilation zones. And why that's important is it's important from a mining perspective, and these guys are mining in that near surface stuff. And then it also helps with the exploration, because you follow these dilation zones and they sort of predict where you're going to hit more of the high grade to bonanza grade gold. Mario Stefano, who's the CEO of Galantis, stated in this news release, and I quote, "Our drill program continues to yield positive results, improving our understanding of the high-grade gold mineralization below the Oma mine. We're pleased with the outcome of this final underground hole at the main Kearney vein as we transition our drill program, excuse me, from underground to surface to target the other main Joshua vein and potentially add to the number of dilation zones previously delineated from historical drilling. We look forward to reporting on these drill results as they become available." So there again, he's talking about, end quote, there again, he's talking about the dilation zones. And this is, again, they're mining the near surface stuff, and then they're going to start moving deeper. And these dilation zones can be real jewelry boxes from a mining perspective, where they can make a lot of money. And again, they also point you to where to go deeper. There's that grade. And here's some of the drill core. And what I see indicates to me that this is sort of brecciated rock here with some quartz in it. And what that indicates to me is they're still high in the orogenic gold system. And as they go deeper, they'll get closer and closer to the heat engine. And as you get closer, you start to see that where this gold is contained in small size fractions of gold, as you get deeper into an orogenic gold system, the gold gets much more coarse. So they're getting high grade to bonanza grades way up in the system. And that's a very impressive situation. Their last news release was about their VMS project in Scotland, which is very exciting to me because they're getting over a percent or two of copper in that system over nice thick intersections. So this company has a great combination of an orogenic gold system in Northern Ireland, and then a base metal system, VMS system in Scotland. But what excites me about the VMS system is in the zonation of the grades in a VMS system, where you get the copper, you also get gold. They are called copper gold rich VMS. And that's exactly what they have in Scotland. So I think this company has a great combination for high grade to bonanza grades in an orogenic gold system in Northern Ireland, and very high grades in a VMS system in Scotland. So take a look at those interviews that I mentioned earlier with Mario Stefano on the YouTube channel or on the Substack, and that will be a good way for you to start your homework. And the third company to talk that I've been talking a lot about lately is Goliath Resources. They're also a sponsor of my shows, and I'm really glad to have them on because I believe that they have the most important new discovery of gold and other metals in the Golden Triangle of British Columbia, which is a prolific region for mining. And they've got something that looks very special to me. What they announced in this news release was visible gold was found on surface at the Full House near Sherbet at the newly discovered shear zones, assaying 113 grams of gold and 249 grams of silver. And it's a new drilled target for 2023 in the Golden Triangle. The newly discovered Full House trend consists of a series of stacked east-west trending and north-dipping, significantly mineralized shear zones sporadically outcropping at surface over 3 kilometers, characterized by sherbet-style mineralization with massive to semi-massive galena and sphalerite that remains open. Full House sits within a broader trend of multiple stacked shear zones traced for 6.5 kilometers that remains wide open. Several highly mineralized newly discovered shear zones will be drill tested this season during the 2023 drill program currently underway. You can it shows you here the where they've hit some of those of that surface sampling. Visible gold was found in grab samples on surface that assayed 113 grams of gold, 249 silver at the payday showing located within the upper portion of the Full House trend. Here you can see where they're seeing that outcropping rock, and they mentioned that Full House is located 5 kilometers northwest of Sherbet and 3.5 kilometers southwest of Gold Swarm. All these zones are believed to be closely related and have most likely been mineralized by the same extensive high-grade feeder source at depth. So you've got this big area where they're seeing, well, Sherbet has done a lot of drilling, so they know they have something special at Sherbet, but then you go several kilometers away and they're seeing the same kind of rock that they saw in the Sherbet at surface and in their drilling. They're seeing at these other locations, which are a significant distance from Sherbet. Like you can see here, here, that's covering a very large area. Assay results are pending for channel cuts from the full house main shear, totaling 12 meters over a thickness of 8 meters, containing galena, sphalerite, and pyrite. So these are the sulfides that they're seeing over at Sherbet. Here they give you a picture of some pyrite, some galena and sphalerite. Then they give you a whole bunch more details in this news release. What I really like about this company is they're excellent at presenting the exploration efforts that they're doing as the project is evolving. I love to see drill core by companies. I don't think enough companies do it. I like to see those surface samples because this gives you an idea, investors and analysts, an opportunity to sort of look at what they're doing as they're doing it. Another thing that really impresses me about this team is that they have an excellent team of geologists that really understand quite well this system at Sherbet and what to look at on other targets at the Gold Digger. This was a brand new discovery. Nobody had ever set foot on this Sherbet discovery. And in a couple short seasons, they've been able to advance it very dramatically. And so what that tells you is, like, for example, they have about a 97% hit rate of hitting gold when they drill. So that tells you that they have a big system there that the geologists understand, and there's predictability and continuity. And these are all the key ingredients that go into making an important, exciting discovery. And that's exactly what they have. And the more work that they do, the more confidence I have in the comment that I made, that I believe that they have the most important new gold and base metal discovery anywhere in the Golden Triangle, and it could rival some of the best discoveries in the Golden Triangle's history. I know that that's saying a lot, but you can't argue with what the Truth Machine is telling us with the drilling that they've done and the high success rate and the fact that it's got continuity and predictability, and these guys know what they're doing with the Truth Machine to place the drills where they know that they're going to keep expanding it. This is a seminal season for the company, and I think you're going to see a lot of great things out of this as they start getting assay results back from the work that they've been doing so far, and they're finding a lot of visible gold in their drilling. So they're, as I said, they are a sponsor, so I've been able to do interviews with their management. You can find those on my YouTube channel at Rocks and Stocks News, or also on my Substack at rocksandstocks.substack.com. So there you go, folks. We had a good group of sponsors of the shows that had excellent news out. And I invite you to, as always, my shows are for information purposes only. Sponsors pay me a fee, which enables me to do the homework on these companies and provide consistent reporting on them. And also it helps me to do all the work that I do with non-sponsors and to be an advocate of the industry, because I'm very passionate treasure hunter. And I love covering treasures as they're being discovered. And it's important for you to speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. I don't make buying or selling recommendations. That's up to you and your financial advisors to decide if any of the companies I talk to or any of the trends I talk about make sense for your risk profile. I'm also a big advocate of investors doing their homework on companies, which is why I provide the interviews and the commentary in the news sections and all that sort of stuff, is because I mean to be sort of the start of your due diligence on a company, and then how to keep following it. But it's important for you to go to their company's websites, check out their disclaimers, check out their news releases, check out their corporate presentations, and give these companies a call, because they really like to tell you their story. And I believe strongly that, based on my 30 years of in the exploration business, that I'm able to identify good stories. And but contact the companies and let them tell you the story as well. On that note, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.